The sun sank low over the dusty plains of Arizona, painting the horizon in a deep shade of gold and crimson. The wind was dry and restless, carrying with it the smell of old leather, horses, and smoke from distant campfires. At the county auction yard in Prescott, a crowd of ranchers gathered around the wooden stage, their faces rough, sunburned, and silent with curiosity. Among them stood a man who had seen too many empty years, Eli Carter, a cowboy known for his quiet strength, his loneliness, and his stubborn heart. Eli wasn't looking for trouble that day. He had come to buy a pair of mules for his ranch. Nothing more, nothing less. But fate had a strange way of working its ropes, and that afternoon, it tied his life to something he could never have imagined. The auctioneer's voice cracked through the hot air, echoing like gunfire across the pen. Next up, two young Apache workers, sisters, hard-working, quiet and good with horses. The crowd murmured. Some laughed, others looked away. The world had changed, but prejudice still rode through men's hearts like dust on the wind. Eli frowned, his hand resting on his belt buckle, uncertain what to make of it. He had no interest in buying people, but when the two girls were brought to the platform, the noise of the crowd faded. One was perhaps 16, the other a year or two older. Their faces were strong and proud, though their eyes held something that broke the heart, a quiet, unspoken fear. The older one stood tall, chin lifted, like she refused to be broken. The younger hid behind her, clutching her sister's hand like it was the last bit of home she had left. Eli didn't move. He didn't speak, but something stirred deep inside him, something older than words, something that spoke of protection, of right and wrong. The auctioneer barked again. "Who'll start the bid?" No one answered. The air hung heavy with shame. Eli swallowed, then raised his hand. $10. Heads turned. Murmurs rippled. The auctioneer, surprised, slammed his gavel. Sold to Mr. Carter. That's how it happened, in the space of a few heartbeats. A man came for mules and walked away with two human souls. As Eli rode home with the girls in the wagon, silence filled the air thicker than the dust around them. He could feel their fear, like a weight pressing against his chest. The older one kept glancing back toward the fading horizon, as if she expected someone or something to come for them. The younger sat close to her, whispering softly in Apache. When the wagon hit a rut, the older girl looked up and met Eli's eyes for the first time. There was no hatred there, no begging, just a warning. "We don't belong to you, cowboy," she said in a voice as sharp as broken glass. Eli nodded once. "No, ma'am," he replied quietly. "You don't." They reached the Carter ranch as the sky turned to velvet blue. The horses were restless, the barn creaked in the evening wind, and the lantern light flickered against Eli's weathered face. He helped them down gently, offered them food, and pointed toward the small cabin behind the barn. "You can stay there for the night," he said. "You'll be safe here." But safety wasn't something easily believed in. The sisters sat close together by the fire, whispering in their native tongue, their faces half lit by the flames. Eli stood outside, leaning against the post, looking up at the stars that had watched over him his whole life. He felt something inside shift, something he couldn't name yet. The next morning the sisters were gone. The cabin door stood open, and the beds were cold. Eli cursed under his breath, saddled his horse, and rode out at dawn. The trail led north toward the dry riverbed, their footprints light but steady. He followed for hours, through coyote cries and the burn of the sun, until he finally found them, cornered by three drifters with guns and cruel smiles. Without thinking, Eli drew his revolver and fired. One man dropped, another ran. The third froze under Eli's aim. "Leave!" Eli growled. "Now!" The drifter didn't need telling twice. The girls stood silent, the younger trembling, the older staring at Eli like she couldn't decide if he was a savior or another kind of danger. Finally she spoke. "Why did you follow us?" Eli holstered his gun. "Because no one should have to run scared on my land." Her eyes softened just slightly, though she said nothing more. As they rode back to the ranch, the air between them carried something new. Not trust. Not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. That night, as the fire crackled, the older sister finally told him their names. "I'm Tala," she said. This is my sister Naira. Eli nodded slowly. Eli Carter, he replied. Tala studied him for a long moment, then said quietly, You didn't buy us. You bought your fate. He didn't know what she meant, not yet. But those words would follow him through every sunrise and every heartbreak that was yet to come. As the flames danced and the stars turned above, Eli realized something deep within him had shifted forever. The loneliness that once filled his ranch was no longer alone. It had company now, two sisters, one destiny, and a story that had only just begun.